A fire rages one morning at an Ocean Township, New Jersey mansion. 2 people are said to be inside. After the blaze is contained, what's left of the home is searched, but no bodies are found. 60 miles away, a man is pulled over and arrested for driving a vehicle full of stolen property. Within a day, police connect the two, and a desperate search is on for a woman who has not been seen or heard from since the fire. My name is M. William Phelps. I'm an investigative journalist and the true crime author of close to 50 books. I've dedicated the past 20 years of my life to helping families of the missing and murdered. Join me. We're crossing the line.
With the Petco Drive, house across the street on fire.
Okay, you see flames, sir?
Yeah. Lots of smoke. There's cars in the driveway. I don't know if anybody's home. Yeah, I'm across the street. There is a car in the driveway.
Okay. All right, so the house is on fire, and you did see flames, right?
Yep, I can see flames. And what do I do?
We've got the police and the fire department on the way over.
Okay.
We've got everybody coming. Okay, you said you do see cars in the house, in the driveway.
2 cars in the driveway.
But you don't know if anybody's home.
Fire is a mesmerizing natural wonder of the world, both sustaining life and causing death, at times on a massive scale. As Ocean Township, New Jersey sheriff's officers and first responders begin to arrive at 86 Wickapecco Drive on September 12, 2019, that man you just heard calling into 911 stands stunned, staring at what is now an out-of-control blaze, consuming an upscale 6,000 square foot gated mansion on a secluded and private stretch of land. It's 7:26 a.m., and neighborhood residents are just waking up, stepping out of their homes, and now congregating in front of the house, all gazing in awe at this incredible fire. The house, a $1.7 million, 1.5-story contemporary home with 5 bedrooms, is being rented by 65-year-old Jacqueline Terrulli, a rather quiet, reserved woman with blonde hair who is enjoying the latter part of life, filling up her days and nights with things she'd always wanted to do. Friends and family say Jacqueline, or Jackie as she is called, is the type of person who is the first to help anyone in need, the rock of her family. So generous, Jackie has her mother, brother, and sister living in the house with her. I think all of you, like me, know this type of person, someone who gives and gives, never takes, and seems to be the one individual in the family everyone turns to for help. My mom, who passed away this past May, was like this. Jackie Terrulli's boyfriend, 49-year-old Ronald Teschner, has not been living up to the standards Jackie expects someone who claims to love her should be. The two of them have been fighting recently. Ronald, who has been in and out of recovery programs, has been drinking and drugging again, and Jackie has had it with him. If there is one thing she will not tolerate, it's someone leeching off her and doing absolutely nothing to help himself. Jackie had approached Ronald recently and explained to him that, though they had once gotten along and have known each other for many, many years, it is time for him to strike out on his own and leave. A few days after this conversation, Ronald calls a buddy of his and explains what's going on. He's upset. He's tried to stop drinking and drugging, but it's been difficult. And now his girlfriend has even given up on him. As they continue to chat, Ronald tells his friend, "I am going to wait until she falls asleep one night and steal what I can from the house I think I can sell." So Jackie offers Ronald a life, a chance, a home. And here he is, planning to rob her blind before stepping out of her life for good. What a guy. As fire personnel get the blaze under control, they learn that Jackie's family had actually gone to Atlantic City the previous night and was not inside the home. But the immediate fear is that Jackie and Ronald are still inside, and if they are, there is no doubt they are dead. Family members tell police they had spoken to Jackie the previous night. She said she was tired of Ronald and his bullshit, his drinking and drugging, all the fighting. She said she was going to bed and was going to deal with him the following morning. They asked if she was going to be okay. "I can handle him," Jackie said. Yet, by that afternoon, sifting through the remnants of the fire, no bodies have been recovered. Jackie Terrulli and Ronald Teschner are missing. Jackie's niece begins calling her phone again and again, but she gets no answer. As the day wears on, the family becomes more and more concerned that something is terribly wrong, that wherever Jackie is, she's in big trouble. A day goes by. The family and the local Crime Stoppers affiliate offer $5,000 each for any information about Jackie, with the family releasing a public statement. Quote, "Wherever she is there involuntarily. She left everything behind." With police now involved and investigating, they realize Jackie Terrulli's Jeep Cherokee is also missing. Later that same day, as a bolo, be on the lookout, goes out for the Jeep, there seems to be a break. About 60 miles away from Ocean Township in Paterson, New Jersey, police pull over a man driving Jackie's Jeep Cherokee. It's Ronald Teschner. They cuff Ronald, sit him down, and begin going through the vehicle. Inside, they recover two 20-gauge shotguns, one of which is custom-painted camouflage pink. Both weapons are Jackie's. They also find a rhinestone bracelet, silver and gold earrings, a few leaf blowers, chainsaws, and weed whackers. All of those items also belong to Jackie. On Ronald Teschner, they find a Rolex watch and several bank cards. They also notice that his boots are very muddy. There's also dirt and mud all over the vehicle, inside and out. Ronald is a rough-looking dude, completely bald, with what seems to be a perpetual scowl on his face, one of those spiderweb tattoos on his elbow that were popular back 15 years ago, on top of a crass and bitter attitude toward any type of authority. So they arrest Ronald Teschner, holding him on 2 counts of unlawful possession of weapons, 3 counts of receiving stolen property, along with a few additional charges. Of course, the biggest question for him is, where can we find Jackie Terrulli? Ronald decries police brutality and says he knows nothing about Jackie or where she might be. He then refuses to say anything more. Back at the scene of the fire, as investigators comb through the debris carefully, they are fairly certain there is no body among the ashes. Jackie Terrulli is still a missing person. And Ronald Teschner? He's the last person to have seen her. Please subscribe to Crossing the Line wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to leave a review of the show, especially on Apple Podcasts. I'm doing this show independently now, free from any corporate or big podcasting media company involvement, which allows me to bring you more of the content you want to hear and have asked me for. This is completely our show. Reviews and subscriptions really help. You are my public relations and social media team now, and without your help, I could not do this. And that support, I must tell tell you, means everything. It's incredibly humbling. And I want to thank each one of you for listening. We can grow the show together, which will allow me to do even bigger things with it. If you go to crossingtheline.biz or mwilliamphelps.com, you can contact me there to suggest cases or just say hello. And look for me across all social media platforms at M. William Phelps. That's the @ symbol and my name, M. William Phelps. Be right back after a short break. In 2007, career criminal Ronald Teschner is sentenced to 11 years in prison for witness tampering, burglary, aggravated assault, and drug possession. And within those charges, we kind of get a glimpse into who this guy truly is. According to those charging documents, Ronald broke into his ex-wife's home for the purpose of threatening to inflict bodily injury. At the time, he had a restraining order out against him. And when police go to make the arrest, he takes off in his vehicle and a chase ensues. As they engage in a hot pursuit, Ronald crashes into another vehicle and injures the female driver. Previously to those charges, he had been sentenced to 12 years in the state prison for basically the same thing, burglary and assault, with the added charge of possession of a weapon for unlawful purposes. So you see, this guy is a true scumbag in every sense of the word. He didn't deserve to be out on the street, and he certainly did not deserve the love Jackie showed him. Here he is now in custody once again and refusing to speak about the whereabouts of his girlfriend. This is a prime example of the type of criminal I talk about here on Crossing the Line from time to time, who continually escalates their criminal activity with no indication whatsoever of ever wanting to de-escalate their behavior. In other words, time in prison does nothing more than put off the inevitable. In Ronald's case, I believe we can now confidently assume murder will be added to his list of criminal accomplishments. Police searching for Jackie Terrulli speak to one of Teschner's friends, who says that Ronald told him the day after the fire, as he was trying to get rid of the items he stole from Jackie, that he overheard her on the telephone that night before the fire. She was telling someone that she wanted him out of the house immediately. Hearing Jackie say that set him off, so he decided to rob her and take off in her Jeep. But as he was in the process of packing up the stolen items, Jackie woke up and approached him. "I'm calling the police," she says. "So I dealt with the situation," Ronald tells his friend. "How so?" his friend asks. "I wrapped her body in a tarp, put her in the vehicle, and got rid of her somewhere hidden." He says he then went back to the house and loaded up the Jeep with whatever he wanted and then took off. His friend says, "Did you set the fire?" "I used nail polish remover," Teschner explains. From there, Ronald Teschner travels north, where he unloaded some of the stolen items and then bought heroin with the money. As Teschner sits in jail, still unwilling to cooperate and tell police where he put Jackie's body, they begin a coordinated search based on Teschner's cell phone records. They pay particular attention to the cell towers his phone pinged off of on that night before the fire and into early the next morning. Remember, they have that information from his friend about Ronald dealing with Jackie that night and going back to the house. So they reckon that he could not have driven far with her body, understanding that likely half of what he told his friend is just utter bullshit. The fire had destroyed the house. As the weeks pass by, authorities continue to comb through all of the wreckage. The search is tedious and difficult. They find nothing. So they then move into the woods surrounding the house. They bring in canines and scores of sheriff's officers to conduct grid searches. But they do not come up with any sign of human remains. Then they move to nearby Deal Lake and search the water. But once again, they turn up nothing. 2 months now into the search, the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office decides it has enough, even without Jackie's body, to charge Ronald Teschner with murder. A murder conviction without a body is very difficult to get over the line. Still, the prosecutor believes they will find Jackie's body, so they charge Ronald with murder, first-degree felony murder, second-degree disturbing human remains, robbery, aggravated arson, and theft. Even without the murder charge, Ronald Teschner, a repeat offender, is looking at some serious time behind bars. Teschner has these deep-set, dark eyes and a shallow gaze about him. It's clear his nose has been broken several times and reset, which tells you something. And the bottom line is that he is one of those wannabe tough guys who bullies women and people smaller than him. That said, he is also a tried and true sociopath who had honed his craft of manipulation and charm, which he had used to work his way into the good graces of Jackie Terrulli long ago. Jackie was the type of person who tried to see the good in everybody, whereas most others would just assume, turn their back and walk away from a dude like Ronald Teschner. Jackie gave him the opportunity to change his life, move in with her. Teschner, of course, took advantage of every bit of Jackie's humanity. Here's a guy who could step up at this point. He knows he's going to prison for well over a decade, even if they never find Jackie's body. But of course, the sociopath relishes in the idea of watching people squirm at their behest. I mean, they are actually stimulated by this sort of thing. And stimulation is a core tenet of the sociopath and psychopath. They feed off other people's misfortune and pain. It actually invigorates them. A guy like Ronald Teschner is in his smelly prison cell, arms folded behind his back, lying on what is a hard mattress, smiling at the fact that he is the cause of everyone scouring the area around the house searching for Jackie. That is the skewed thinking process most of these men have. Teschner, in this situation, believes he is the winner. In June 2020, now 9 months after that fire engulfed the house, with Jackie still missing, a crew shows up to demo what's left of the place. One of the problems with the previous search of the home is the fact that the house, all 6,000 square feet of it, collapsed in on itself. With the proper equipment, the demo crew begins removing the massive amount of charred debris from what is the top layer of the property. With that cleared, they then begin digging through all of the debris that had burned and accumulated in the basement of the home, which had rendered any type of search in that area impossible for investigators, even for the canines. As backhoes carefully dig, someone shouts out to stop the machines. They all walk over, and there it is, a leg sticking out of a pile of burned wood. Upon further inspection, the body is wrapped in plastic and buried in a 4.5-foot grave, a few feet from what was a patio door opening up into Jackie's bedroom. There is no doubt to police that they have found the body of Jackie Terrulli. The medical examiner rules her death a homicide, yet there is no way to tell how she was murdered. Her body is basically skeletonized. There's also no way to identify the body except for DNA or dental. But when those results come in, it is confirmed that the body found in the basement is that of Jackie Terrulli. Let's take our final break here and come right back. As Ronald Teschner sits in jail awaiting the beginning of his trial on murder and many other charges, a former cellmate he'd had steps up and claims to have some information. He confessed to me that he killed her, the cellmate says. Soon after, a second cellmate steps forward with the same information. Both cellmates end up knowing certain information about Jackie's murder that had never been made public, and both testify against Ronald Teschner during his October 2022 trial. Some of the most damning evidence presented during that trial comes from a geologist with the FBI. Boots Ronald Teschner was wearing when he was stopped in Jackie's Jeep had dirt on them, matching microscopically to the dirt in the grave Teschner dug and put Jackie's body in. Teschner's trial turns into a fiasco. And before I get into that, I want to say a true sociopath like Teschner disrupts, causes chaos, enjoys stirring people up, makes any situation all about him, and truly gets a thrill out of presenting his version of a truth that is at times so far removed from reality, it's hard to understand that these people don't even believe what they're saying themselves, but rather get off on all the attention the anarchy they perpetuate causes. This is one of the major differences between the sociopath and the psychopath. The sociopath enjoys this part of the game, their involvement in it and being at the center, whereas the psychopath quietly walks away from it, knowing he will deal with it all on his own terms, usually when you are least expecting it, and of course, far more violently than you could ever imagine. Take a listen to Ronald Teschner for a minute in one of his many outbursts during court proceedings in his case.
I never said anything was handed over to me. I said that you guys changed reports, changed phone calls, changed photographs, and did a lot of effed up things to convict me that weren't fair to me.
This has been the problem throughout.
If you think I killed somebody for a weed whacker that wasn't theirs in a $20 pair of earrings, you're out of your mind. But whatever.
Sir, focus your attention.
My attention is focused.
It hasn't been.
It sure has been. And you're only, every time I speak the truth, you shut me up and throw me out.
No, every time you do.
I've never said anything that wasn't true. He has repeatedly.
Sir, focus your
And even
attention.
you have, for that matter.
Focus your attention, sir.
My attention's focused.
Okay. Just to come in.
You see how he likes to think he is in control of things, even while in a court of law with a judge and the prosecution arguing its case. Ronnie Boy claims it's all a setup. There's a conspiracy going on to frame and convict him. That he did nothing. And everyone involved in the proceedings, well, they're out to get him. They're all in on it. Just plain gibberish coming out of the mouth of a guy who has committed crimes, violent crimes, all his life. He knows this is his last stand. The final time he'll have the stage, per se, so he is going to make the most of it.
Argument that it would be anyone else in the world who did this would require quite a bit. It would require an individual to know that the family, for the first time ever, really maybe second, is all out of the house and Jacqueline's there. But what else would have to happen? Because we know he was there. We already know he was there. He told us he didn't leave till the morning. So somebody came into the house dismantled the smoke detectors, turned on the lights, opened the garage, lit the house on fire, killed her, and then dragged her body from her mother's room, which is in the front of the house, up and over the bed that he's sleeping in, to then dig a 4-foot hole 3 feet away from him while he's laying in bed. It is not plausible. There is one person with means, motive, and opportunity here, ladies and gentlemen, and that is Ronald Teschner.
The prosecutor you just heard sums it up. The guy is a menace, and he killed a woman he claimed to have loved, all because he wanted some dope, and she was kicking him out of her house after she'd given him plenty of chances to clean up his act. Teschner is found guilty of murder as well as 13 other crimes. He had caused so much chaos and disrupted proceedings so many times, the judge ordered him not to be present when the verdict was read. When he was in court, they had 5 burly sheriff's officers, young and tough, surrounding him. During the trial, it came out that Jackie Terrulli had known Teschner for over a decade and had allowed him to live in a condo she owned and had paid for a drug treatment facility he was once in before letting him move into the house where he murdered her. After he is found guilty on all counts, the judge summons Teschner to the court to set his sentencing date. February 7th, 2023, the judge says. "That's on my birthday," Teschner responds. "I like that. Thank you." Ronald Teschner is sentenced to life in prison. That's it for this week. Remember, this Thursday at 6 p.m., the latest episode of my limited series, 34 Fairview Road, drops. Thank you for supporting Crossing the Line with M. William Phelps and 34 Fairview Road. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I need your help. Please subscribe to Crossing the Line wherever you get your podcast. And don't forget, leave a review of the show, especially on Apple Podcasts, and log on to crossingtheline.biz or mwilliamphelps.com to contact me and suggest cases, or just say hi. And look for me across all social media platforms using the @ symbol and my name, M. William Phelps. Thank you for supporting this show. I am allowed to do it because of you, and that truly means more to me than I can say. Be safe. Be aware. Sources for this episode include redacted Teschner complaints, police reports, State of New Jersey versus Ronald J. Teschner, arrest affidavit, Ocean Township man guilty of murdering housemate, burying her, setting home on fire, by Kathleen Hopkins, Asbury Park Press, October 25th, 2022. Crossing the Line is executive produced by M. William Phelps, LLC, and Matthew Valentinas, Mom's Basement Management. Written by me, M. William Phelps. Audio mastering and mixing by Matt Russell. Original music written and performed by Thomas Mooney, Tom Phelps, and Matt Russell.